I'm a plastic girl in a plastic world. Paraneoplastics, DermatoGraphix. All right. I'm done. But hopefully you got the point that we're going to be covering paraneoplastic syndromes represented by the plastic dolls. Let's start with the doll with big lips. She's representing acquired angioedema, which is characterized by the classic swollen lips. She's sipping a lime drink with one finger to symbolize that acquired angioedema type 1 is associated with lymphoproliferative disease. That's Lyme's for lymphoproliferative. Behind her, another doll holds up two fingers and is holding an antibody-shaped microphone. This represents acquired angioedema type 2, which is linked to autoimmune disease, hence the antibody to show autoimmunity. Next, we see a dropped C-shaped gun, indicating decreased C1 esterase inhibitor activity, or C1-INH activity. This is a common feature in both hereditary and acquired angioedema. How do we differentiate them, though? Look at the dropped 1-cent penny symbolizing decreased C1q levels that are present in acquired angioedema, but distinguish it from the hereditary form where we don't see the same finding. The doll's two shoes touching the floor remind us of decreased C2 and C4 levels in this condition. Remember the numerical rhyming system. Again, that's shoe for C2 and floor for C4. All right, let's move on. This fish inside a bowl represents the next paraneoplastic syndrome, which is acquired ichthyosis. Ichthyosis means fish-like, which is why we use a fish. This condition is characterized by adherent polygonal scales and keratosis, as shown by the polygonal-shaped coral furniture. The fish is splashing water onto the doll's legs to symbolize that this condition usually affects the lower extremities, particularly the extensor surfaces. Notice that she's wearing band-aids to cover her elbows and her knees, reminding us that this condition usually spares the flexural creases. The lime splashing out of the fishbowl indicates the association of acquired ichthyosis with Hodgkin and non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Again, that's Lyme for lymphoma. Check out this basic doll trying to go back to a black and white world. She doesn't want to be in a pink world? Ugh, so basic. The basic doll represents Bazex syndrome, also known as Acrokeratosis paraneoplastica. Her purple mask on the nose symbolizes the symmetric erythematous to violaceous soriform plaques that are classically seen on the nasal bridge. She's got on purple earrings to represent similar lesions on the helices of the ears. Finally, her purple gloves and shoes are there to remind us that these lesions are also present on the distal extremities. Take a look at her skateboard, which is oddly shaped like a fingernail and has horizontal and vertical lines. This represents horizontal and longitudinal nail ridging that's seen in Bazex syndrome. Notice that she's breathing into a paper lunch bag, reminding us of the association with cancers of the upper aerodigestive tract. Just think of her breathing for aero and the fact that it's a lunch bag for digestive. The next doll shaved her head, representing Alopecia Neoplastica, a localized scarring alopecia that's secondary to dermal infiltration by metastatic carcinoma. To remind you that it's specifically associated with metastatic breast cancer, she's wearing a cancer crab-shaped bra on her breasts. For the last doll, check out this mother caressing her baby, representing Carcinoma in Cuirasse, also known as Carcinoma Erysipeloides. The baby is holding an orange to symbolize the indurated skin with an orange peel-like puderange appearance. Finally, this mom is also wearing a cancer crab bra, highlighting that this condition is commonly due to metastatic breast carcinoma infiltrating into the lymphatic vessels. This leads to lymphadematous changes of the skin and the clinical presentation of erythema and induration. Alright, let's review. The big lip doll represents acquired angioedema, and she's sipping a lime drink and holding up one finger, signifying acquired angioedema type 1, which is usually associated with a lymphoproliferative disease. The doll holding up two fingers represents acquired angioedema type 2, which is associated with autoimmune diseases, hence the antibody-shaped microphone. The C-shaped gun on the ground symbolizes decreased C1 esterase inhibitor activity, while the 1-cent penny also on the ground symbolizes decreased C1q levels. This can help distinguish the acquired form from the hereditary form, since C1q levels are typically decreased in the acquired form, but not in the hereditary form of angioedema. The two shoes on the floor depict decreased C2 and C4 levels. The ichthyosis fish illustrates acquired ichthyosis. Its polygon-shaped furniture represents the adherent polygonal scales and keratosis. The fish is splashing water onto the doll's legs to symbolize that the condition usually affects the lower extremities, favoring the extensors. The doll has band-aids on her elbows and knees to protect them from the water, a way to show that the condition spares the flexural creases. Finally, the line popping out of the bowl reminds us that it's associated with Hodgkin and non-Hodgkin lymphoma, or lymphoma. The basic Barbie, wanting to live in a basic black and white world, represents Bazex syndrome, aka Acrokeratosis paraneoplastica. Her purple nasal mask represents the symmetric erythematous to violaceous psoriasiform plaques that typically affect the nasal bridge. These lesions may also involve the helices, as shown by her purple earrings, as well as the distal extremities, as shown by her purple gloves and shoes. Her fingernail-shaped skateboard with horizontal and vertical ridges indicates horizontal and longitudinal nail ridging that's seen in Bazex syndrome. Finally, she's breathing into a paper lunch bag, as Bazex syndrome is typically associated with upper aerodigestive tract cancers. The doll with a shaved head holding a razor represents Alopecia Neoplastica. Her crab-shaped bra symbolizes that it's associated with metastatic breast cancer. The last doll is a mother caressing her baby, representing Carcinoma and Cuirasse. The baby's orange represents indurated skin with an orange peel-like pewter-orange appearance. Finally, the mom's cancer crab bra symbolizes that metastatic breast carcinoma is usually the culprit that's infiltrating the lymphatic vessels. That's a wrap for today's DermatoGraphix. Let's head out of the dollhouse and go to the bachelor pad. On to the plastic Ken dolls.